Namaste, welcome to Buddha's teaching. My name is Soti Tim. Again, we are talking about the mind this time, as the topic implies. Mind created suffering. So our mind, in the Pali language, the word mind has the same meaning as the word life. Okay, so the mind or life, they both have the same meaning. So what does that mean? So in our daily life, for all of us, we do everything depending on our mind, right? So the mind does all the things. Without the mind, there is no life, there is no world. We come to recognize everything around us and inside us is because of our mind. So the mind pretty much is the show. The mind runs the show, right? So without the mind, there is no you, there is no me. So that's why the word life and the word mind has the same meaning, because when we say life is experiences with all the phenomenon that is happening, and all these experiences that we are having goes through our mind. So without our mind, there is no life, because there won't be any recognition, right? You would not recognize anything, you would not know anything. So life and mind is the same. Okay. In Pali language especially, it's pretty much the same meaning. Right? And also the mind, Chitta, also has the same meaning as sixth sense, the mano, or we call the human being. It also has the same definition as the mind, the human being. In the Pali language is the manusa, which has to do with the mind, chitta. Okay, so it's all the same, just different sound, different words that refer to the same thing. So it's all about the mind. Our life is run by the mind. Okay, so the mind is the operating system, as we all know. Okay, so and if we do not understand this operating system, then we tend to have a problem, as we have issue, right? So again, this episode here is sort of like a reminder also about something similar. I've talked about it in previous episodes, but it's just something that is worth reminding, and probably have a little different approach to it, so we can have a better, or have a different way of looking at our mind. So when we have an issue in our mind, right? Our mind is agitated, our mind is disturbed, the mind is heavy, and the mind is not clear, right? It's like all fogged up, and it's just like a big dark cloud, rolling in, blocking all the sunlight. Okay, it's like the mind is just going through some kind of storm, heavy rain, and all that. So that is when the mind is heavy, that is when the mind having problem, and that is the mind having issue. It doesn't matter what kind of problem or issue that we have, that the mind has. It's there, it's in the mind, right? So whatever problem that you have now, or you had before, or you will have, or you will encounter in the future, it's all happening inside the mind. Okay, the mind don't agree with this, and the mind don't agree with that. Okay, the mind that is worried, the mind that is upset, very agitated, very angry, very hateful, right? Or the mind that has a lot of resentment toward whatever things that happened before, all kinds of negative feeling, all kinds of negative thinking, all kinds of negative emotion, that all that happens within our mind, right? So that is pretty much what our mind does a lot of time. Okay, the mind is creating all of this is emotion inside. Okay, and it accumulates a little thing here and a little thing there. Okay, and most of the time, for most of the people, when there's problem, when there's issue, of course, it happens because of this, because of that, or because of that person or this person, right? They are the people who bring us problem. They are the people who bring us suffering, and also maybe a job or some kind of situation that make us feel, that make us worry, such as let's say this war is about to break out, or looming layoff that's gonna take place in the company and all that, and makes us worry, makes the mind thinking. Okay, so when this happen, what the mind does is the mind does the thinking, right? When the mind is not at peace, when the mind is not calm, so when the mind is now worried, the mind now angry and upset, okay, and all of that, the mind is thinking about that issue. Okay, the mind is thinking about that person. Okay, so the focus is on that person. The focus is on the future events that the mind thinks that it's gonna happen to itself, or to the self I. So all of the focus is outward. Okay, all of the focus is outward. What we most of us do not realize is this: is that all of this thing here that is happening, okay, all of this worry, the suffering that we have, right, all kinds of suffering, right, anger or hatred, right, or upset, stress, sad, and all of this, for most of us, we never thought that this is the product of our own mind. Okay, we never thought of that. Okay, we never thought that whatever the feeling, whatever the emotion that we have is generated by our very own mind. Okay, the feeling we have, whatever it is, we tend to think, most of us, at least anyway, we tend to think that whatever that we feeling, it is because of something out there. Okay, because of something out there, because of that person, this person, that person, or whatever event. All of those things are the culprit. All of those things are the problem, the source of the problem. All of those things are the issue. Okay, while in the same time nobody realize that the emotion that is that the mind is having is within. Okay, so that's why in the previous episode that I have mentioned, people or events, phenomenon out there, they can be triggers. Okay, because we all encounter, as we experience life, those are the potential triggers as we go about, doing business, taking care of whatever, and we come to contact with different people, with different things, with news or whatnot. Okay, we come to contact with all kinds of phenomenon that is happening in the world, right? Those are the triggers. Right? That's what we have learned before. Now, for most people, when people tend to focus on the triggers as the source of the suffering, but it never dawned on them, it never dawned on people that the triggers are triggers, but those are actually the test. Okay, those are actually like a teacher in a way. They are the test to see how we respond to those triggers. Okay, so what happened inside of us, right? What arises inside of us, what is it that the mind is doing? That is the test, right? We all going to encounter triggers. We all going to encounter different kinds of people and events and all that are a lot of time not to our liking. Okay, it's gonna be things that you will not disagree with. But what does the mind do? Does the mind generate anger? Does the mind generate hatred? Does the mind generate resentment? The mind upset when the mind hears some kind of news, and the mind is worried and all that. Now that's the issue. That's a problem that is created by our very own mind. Okay, this is so. If we are not aware of this, our mind will respond negatively to the unfavorable situation or to the unfavorable person that we run into, because people can talk whatever way that they talk certain things, and then it affects us. And if our mind is not awake, our mind will respond negatively, and our mind will generate negative emotion, and so our mind generates suffering for itself. Okay, there can be triggers. Okay, everything that's out there are triggers, but what is it that our mind does? How does our mind respond? Can our mind see things as they are, or the mind just react quickly to what the mind encounter? You see, so we all, throughout our daily activities, we come across, we experience many emotions. All right, throughout our whole day. Just ask yourself from, let's say, if today you at the end of the day, let's say, since this morning, how many times have you laughed, and how many times you have become upset, right? Or how many times you yell at your spouse, at your kids, or at your siblings? How many times, or maybe have you cry? Okay, all of this, right? These are the product that is of the mind. All of these things here generated by our very own mind. All right. So whether we see it or not, depending on how awake we are. Okay, how much is it that we have come to understand the function of our very own mind. So when we have negative emotion, when we have negative feeling inside, okay, how does it feel? All right, you have to, of course, recognize this. When there's negative emotion or negative whatever thing goes on inside, you keep thinking about, whatever that person doing this bad thing, saying bad thing to me, and all that. Okay, and you keep thinking that person hate, and then you don't like that person, the person don't like me, or whatever it is that you think. That is a disturbance, right? It disturbs your mind. The mind is always running and is always thinking about that. So the mind is generating this suffering, and who is being affected by this agitation? It's you, right? It's you. It's not anyone else. It's not the triggers. It's the mind. Your mind is creating this agitation for you. Okay? So in another word, your mind is destroying your peace. It's not destroying other people's peace. Right? So that is the strange thing about the mind. When the mind is upset, when the mind is not happy about whatever thing, the mind is actually causing issue and taking away peace from you, and that is your own mind. All right. So when your mind is not happy, your own mind, your very own mind is destroying your own peace, thanks to the triggers. Okay. So your mind sort of like have the excuse to make you not happy by using the triggers as the base. Say, oh yeah, it's because of that person. That's why I'm not happy. So now the word I am is the mind that is destroying your very own peace and make you all agitated and upset. You don't feel good the whole morning or whatnot. You go through your day with a bad mood and all that. It is because of your very own mind. Your very own mind generate all that agitation within you and make you feel not good. Okay, so you are the victim of your very own mind. This is something that pretty much most of us do not realize. Okay, without the teaching of the Buddha, most of us would not realize this. Okay, because when we have issue with the world, we always point our fingers outward. Okay, we never realize that our mind is generating all of this negative feeling and emotion, but the mind look out there, okay, and blame that person. You make me not happy, right? You upset me. You call me bad words and all that. Okay, so that's what's called a blind mind, the mind that lives by the influence of the outside world. It means that the mind that has no refuge to itself, the mind that fluctuates, that change according to whatever the mind encounters. Okay, that is the untrained mind. And untrained mind change itself, change its mood according to what it's experienced. Okay, that is the untrained mind. When it encounters something pleasant, then the untrained mind become happy. Okay, and vice versa. When it encounters something unpleasant, then the untrained mind becomes unhappy. So this is the way of life for pretty much most of the people walking this planet. So the mind changes constantly from one mood to the other based on what they encounter. Or based at the snap of a finger, the mind changes from happy to angry. The mind changes to from sad to laughing. The mind changes from being calm, from equanimity to upset, to worry, to crying, based on whatever the mind see, or the mind hear, or the mind smell, or the mind taste, or the mind feel through the body sense. You see? So, and when the mind is doing that, the mind is causing problem, the mind is causing issue to itself. The mind generates problem for you. You are the victim of your very own mind. So when the mind is not trained, then the victim is the body that the mind operates. That is a very unfortunate things that happen, but this is nature. This is how it is. When we are born, this is the mind that we are given, and the mind is a very intelligent phenomenon that is given to us, but also it's a two-edged sword. We don't know how to work this mind, and the mind can cut us deeply, very, very deeply. Okay, so for the mind that is, believe it or not, in Buddha's teaching, when the mind is upset, when the mind is having negative emotion, okay, the mind is unwholesome in a way, in another word. Okay, so all the unwholesome activity that is happening inside, all right, anger, hatred, jealousy, worry, all right, resentment, and all of that. So those are all called unwholesome mental activities, right? So in Buddha's teaching, when the mind is in that state, okay, the Buddha said that's a mind state of an unwholesome person. Okay, there's words that is kind of heavy to use, but I rather use the word, okay, that's the mind of an unwholesome person. Okay, that's so it's the mind that not yet see that the negative effect of unwholesome activity, right? It's the mind that not yet see that without those negative mental activity, the mind would benefit greatly by not going through all those, right? Without going through the unwholesome mental state, where would the mind be? If the mind does not experience unwholesome mental state, then of course the mind would be in wholesome state, right? So when the mind is still going through negative mood, negative activity, it means that you are still not seeing the benefits of not having a negative mental state, right? Until you see that, oh, when there's a negative mental state, then it's not good, right? When you become to realize that, hey, this negative mental state that is happening right now is not good for me. The good wholesome benefit is on the other side, is by not having negative emotion, by not having negative thought, doing all the negative thinking about this and that, about that person, me, him, this, and you are the victim. Without all of that, then the mind becomes peaceful, and then you benefit. See, until you realize that, then the ordinary mind will keep doing the same thing, right? Thinking about, when there's issue, the untrained mind will always think outward, right? About that person, this person, and all of that. Okay? So this has been the habit, a habit of that since the day that we are born, that we come to realize what that since we walk the planet, we walk the earth. This is a habit, okay? It's just it's a way of nature, okay? That that train us to focus on things on outside, right? The source of our problem is outside. Okay, this has been the natural way that we have been trained. Right, we've been trained to look out there, because one of the things is from the early age of human, we have to look out for ourselves, right? So because of that, it becomes a very nature to look outward, okay, to protect ourselves. But when it comes to the mental state, it's something that we never been trained to look at. So without Buddha's teaching, nobody trained us to look within. Okay, so the realization of the negativity within, all right, of anger within, okay, or whatnot, whatever unwholesome feeling, unwholesome emotion that we have. See, normally when the mind is at the untrained mode, right, never come across this teaching or never been trained to look within before. When the mind is angry, I am angry. When the mind is sad, I'm upset. So then I'm gonna go look for some kind of relief, right? That's what the mind said. I'm gonna go out there, have a drink, have something to eat, or do whatever to relieve ourselves, at least temporary, so that we don't have too much stress. So that is the untrained mind. The untrained mind does that. Okay, looking for relief out there. Okay, so but for the awakened mind, whether doesn't matter how awake you are, but it can be just one quick moment at a time. It can start with one moment at a time. So let's say you just come across a lesson and start to practice, right, on your very own mind. You say, let me give it a try. Let me try it. It sounds reasonable. Okay, so and then as you go about doing your business, and then somebody say something or do something to upset you, you become angry, and then all of a sudden you remember the lesson. You say, oh, this is what we call, it's called unwholesome mind, right here. See, when you can realize that, that is called an awakened moment, right there. Okay, because normally for an untrained mind, when we become angry or upset or whatnot, we keep going. Okay, the train of thought is running non-stop, angry and all that. It's just repeating itself. But once you have an awakened moment, it's just like a scissor or a knife that cut that train, that cut that string of thought. Okay, so while you're angry and all, while the mind is so busy thinking about the negative thing, and all of a sudden the awakened moment comes, boom, right? Oh, that is what is called the untrained mind that is running. So if when the awakened moment arrives, you stop thinking about the other person that make us upset, and then we look inside, wait a minute, so that's what it is. It's right here. The upset or the anger or the negative emotion, it happens right here. So at that very moment, that is called an awakened moment, right? It's like a knife that cut the string of thought of the negative thoughts, right? It cuts the string of negative thought right there, boom, and right there and then, or right then and there, you notice right away that there's no more negative feeling, right? It's just gone, poof. Okay, it's gone. And it replaced by an awakened moment, right? So that is when you start to realize that, oh, so this is what the mind is doing. The mind is going and going until an awakened moment comes, and then boom, oh, wait a minute, and it cut that string of negative thinking. Okay, and that experience would be we call an awakening moment. And this is something that we all practice, right? We need to have more awareness of our mind, of way our mind is thinking. The mind is doing the reaction, reacting to things, responding to things, right? So this is how we train our mind, how to respond, okay, how to answer to events and people, to different things without using emotion, but instead going through the awareness of the mind. Okay, so that is at least the part that should keep us grounded instead of jumping, right? According to whatever phenomenon that the mind encountered. Now that keeps us grounded and keeps us at peace. Okay, and that keeps us at peace. And that would be the moment that you see the benefit. Okay, so that would be the practice. Now, if you don't see it yet, that means you don't see the Dharma yet, you don't see the teaching yet. Once you experience that, once you realize that, when you start having awakened moment, all right, one at a time, then you start to see what the Buddha's teaching is all about. All right, then you start to see what the Buddha is talking about. Okay, so that's why there's a saying in Buddha's teaching is that an angry person, or whatever, you can substitute the word angry with unwholesome emotion, all right? But let's just say an angry person has himself as his own enemy. Okay, so think about that. An angry person has himself as his own enemy. So what does that mean? It means that when you are angry, that means the mind is generating the negative mood, and that negative mood is destroying you. It's destroying itself. Right? So the mind is your own enemy now when you are angry. Okay? So keep in mind, and the mind, the problem, and also keep in mind that I know many of us have a lot of problem, or have accumulated a lot of problems in life, right? The older you become, you have more problem in life, and you keep accumulating problems in life. Let's say, one example, children or your teenager, okay, in school and all whatnot, they have been having issue with their parents. Parents tells them not to do this and not to do that, and say all kinds of rules and all that, right? So little by little, the teenager, they have this, so there's negative emotion arise within them, because they don't get to do what their heart desire. Okay, so with little thing here and there, the stream of the mind keeps accumulating negative emotion. Okay, so watch for that. The negative emotion toward a lot of things. Okay, when big thing happens, okay, it doesn't just happen big right away. That's the point I'm trying to get across, is that big fight, big divorce, big argument or whatnot, it doesn't just erupt it like that. It starts out small. Okay, the mind is very good at savings, at things into memory, at accumulating feelings and emotion within. Okay, and it keeps adding on to its subconsciousness. Okay, and it keeps accumulating at a low level, one little thing at a time. Okay, so that's why a lot of issues that happen within the family. It's because we are very close to each other, and when we accumulating all of these little negative emotion, okay, one here, one there, one here, one there, but when the mind accumulated every single day, one day it's gonna go boom. Okay, it's there's no big volcano erupted without the little accumulating. There's signs along the way. That's the thing. So that's how the mind works, right? So this is the episode that I like to just refresh a lot of the memory of our listeners here, and to think and to look back at our very own mind again, look within, and just remember that whatever feeling, mood or emotion that we have, it's all mind generated, right? So suffering is pretty much mind generated issue. Okay, now I'm not talking about physical suffering or pain. Okay, if there's physical abuse, that's different, right? I'm talking about mental activity here. Okay, all right. So that's what I have today. Hopefully it is something of useful to all of you. Until next time, I like to pay respect to the triple gems. I like to pay respect to the Buddha. I like to pay respect to the Dharma. And I like to pay respect to the Sangha. Namaste, everyone.